In today's episode of the Pathmonk Presents podcast, I'm with Chris Flores, and he's the Senior Director of Marketing at Bennie. And Bennie is on a mission to provide everyone with access to better benefits. And I mean, a lot of you folks listening in, you're in marketing roles, you're in SaaS companies. So, benefits is obviously a very interesting topic for a lot of you guys. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Very cool. So give us that 360. What is Bennie all about?
Yeah, so if you think about the world of benefits just in general, like traditionally, they are pretty difficult to navigate, difficult to understand, difficult for employees to figure out, what plans are, et cetera. So what Bennie does is in the best way we can, with the customer journey and the customer in mind first, making it all less complicated and more accessible for organizations and their employees. So first and foremost, we're a full service employee benefits broker. Mm-hmm. We also offer a web and mobile app, which members can go in, ask questions, find a doctor, view insurance cards, get rid of the physical cards, don't need them anymore. And we do a lot of HR technology consulting. So we believe the broker responsibility, it's a lot more than just, once or twice a year type of open enrollment conversation, a broker would traditionally have with a company. So yeah, that's a little bit about what we're doing today.
Very cool. And what types of companies are leveraging the platform to provide benefits for their employees? Are we talking enterprise? Are we talking like mid-size? Are we talking certain types of industries? Maybe give us an insight.
Yeah. So we're primarily focused in the U.S. Small and mid-sized companies. We typically target anywhere between 25 to 500 employees. Which is a really large total addressable market for us. And we're excited to be able to play in this space. And some of the highlighted, in terms of industries, technology, finance, nonprofits, education, really those who put a strong focus in their employees and employee culture and of course their benefits. So we really service that. And we do think, especially in the mid-market, it's kind of underserved. You're kind of stuck in the middle. You have local brokers or you have like large national brokers. So in the middle, we play a strong, middle ground and being able to bridge the gap for customers.
Yeah, makes sense. Would that be then sort of like a head of HR who is taking on the product, or does it come from an operational or finance side? Like, where does it actually come from?
Yeah. We start with the head of HR because they're the ones who are on the ground and they need the most support and help. So who we benefit the most really is not just employers, but employees and their dependents, but also more importantly, that HR leader. We've have HR leaders who are saving anywhere between 10 to 15 hours a week because they're able to leverage our technology, and we can take a lot of the customer support type related questions off of their plate. So they focus on strategy. So basically, they have their hands full. They have a lot that they have to manage from an HR perspective. We want to control benefits, right? We want to manage it for them, make it easier, so that their employees in their workplace, have the right access that they need.
Interesting. So how do these folks hear about Bennie? Like, what is sort of the top client acquisition channels that you guys are leveraging?
Yeah, we're outbound heavy shop. So on the marketing squad, the team that I'm proud of and very happy to be leading is our sales development reps. So our sales development team is really focused on getting the word out, cold calling, cold emailing, cold outreach, and doing all that they can to get Bennie in front of as many people as possible. So that's one of our main channels. From an inbound perspective, we still do, social media. We have demand generation as far as like ads and whatnot. We're on LinkedIn. We get referrals from friends and people within our network. So we're always staying on top of that from a business development perspective. That's huge for us too. And then from another thing that we've been exploring and we're very happy about is a community that we've built called HR Advisory. And basically, it is a free community for all HR leaders, and it's grown, closing in on 2,500 HR leaders right now. And what we've done is we've given them a free Slack community, free LinkedIn group, where they can they have accessible to their peers, ask questions about what's going on, COVID, vaccinations, return to work, hiring, just everything that's on their plate right now. Just giving them that channel so that they can have conversations with other people going through it as well. And that has been a really big help, not only for HR folks, but also like younger HR leaders, folks who are trying to, progress and get more with their career development. So we're seeing that really come to life with 2,000 plus members strong. And it's been exciting to see. And that's a great way for us to also talk about, what's going on at Bennie and getting feedback from them. And they get to feel, pretty impactful and strong, alignment with our product and what we're planning on doing. So we're really, really focusing on, around that HR leader to help us drive a lot of these decisions.
Yeah, if somebody who's listening is interested in joining the community, what should they do? Where do they go?
Yeah, they can go right to hradvisory.com and then sign up. We have a little bit of a vetting process because we want to make sure quality over quantity for sure. But you would be able to speak to one of our representatives, we'd love to learn more about you. And there's a lot of thought leadership opportunities as well. We have folks write blogs, we do quarterly meetings over Zoom, and we highlight some hot topics. So the next one coming up is around running a virtual open enrollment. So we're always looking for panelists and hosts and people to participate. So it's a great opportunity. hradvisory.com is the place to go.
Very cool. I mean, one last question on this before we're moving on. Like, what did you guys learn about, managing a community like this? Is there something that you found to be super valuable? Because community-led growth has been sort of a topic on the podcast as well. What did you guys, learn in terms of keeping the community engaged and, interesting and exciting?
You have to invest in it. And I think what we've done, what I first did was look at what other communities are out there, and there's a bunch of free communities, there's ones that you have to pay for. But I, and a lot of us on the team don't believe, you have to pay for, advice. So, you have to pay to be able to network in this type of community, especially with COVID and everything that's happened to the world. HR leaders were probably the busiest and they have a lot on their plate to think about. So what we've learned is the more we make it organic and the more we give it to them to control the message, things that they want to talk about, survey them and not necessarily us controlling the message and controlling the topics, the better it was. And the more value the HR members of HR Advisory were starting to get. To the point where we've recently hired a director of HR Advisory. So she's an amazing person on our team right now, leading events, jumping in the community, in the Slack community and fielding questions, et cetera, and guiding people through the onboarding process and making sure that they have a good experience. So I think that's the biggest thing is like investing into community. Everyone has their idea of how to do it, but the more that you can make it centered around that core person that you're looking to be valuable for, the better.
Very cool. How do you think about the website, bennie.com? Like, what role does it play in your mind as a sort of, a director of marketing?
Yeah, I'm staring at it all the time, a little bit too much. It's fun, the website, as far as, some of the things that I'm really focused on is making sure it's always SEO optimized, making sure that, we're always keeping, blogs fresh and content fresh, copy fresh, images. One thing that we've done is, a lot of our images that you see on our site are ones that we actually did an on-site photo shoot. We do not like to use stock photography because we want to leverage our own employees. We want to leverage people that we've worked with and people who can help us display the brand in the way that we want. So that's something that's super important for us. And we just want to make it easy. When someone lands on the site, we want to make sure that they know how to schedule a demo, know exactly what we do, what's available to them. And I think it's like any type of playbook, especially in a startup. The website's always written in pencil. It's not written in pen. So we're always trying to reiterate and make sure that it's optimized in every way that we can.
Yeah. Where do you see room for improvement on it? I mean, you mentioned you guys putting a lot of effort already, and I can see it here, a lot of effort into sort of having, no stock images and having it very authentic.
Yeah.
Like, where do you see room for improvement, or what's the next step where you want to take it?
Content for sure. Really want to focus on content and a focus in our blog. Who we service, like we have such a unique opportunity to not just speak to the HR leader, but to also speak to employees or people looking for insurance products or, dependents. And again, HR person, they have a lot on their plate. I want them to, worry about what they need to worry about with HR and let us take care of benefits. And that type of messaging is pretty strong. And I think from a content perspective, we can start pulling in more people by increasing our content, increasing the number of blogs that we've been doing, and also inviting more HR advisory members to help write and be included with, with our content experience. So I think that's the biggest need right now for us. That's going to be a big priority for us going into the new year.
And how do you, as a leader in for the website, and it sounds like you're very involved with the website, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you are. How do you go about figuring out why people do or do not sign up, right? For example, in your case, they can, go ahead, for example, and schedule a demo. Like, how do you guys, what's your method, tools, ways of figuring out why they wouldn't convert?
Yeah. We have some automation in the back end and things that, how we get people in via forms, and we're always tracking how many leads we receive. And, I try not to overcomplicate it. We really focus on website traffic. We think about the season, we think about the time, now it's the holidays, and it does get a bit slower. So we keep all of that in mind. And then a lot of it's also based on experience. We have a group of Bennies here that have tons and tons of brokerage, health insurance related experience in tech and building companies. So we have a good guess of like what to expect when we look at the data. And now it's just a matter of like, are we tracking it in the right way? So inbound is pretty low for us, just as far as focus, because we are such a outbound heavy. But as I mentioned before, when we think about blogs and we think about content and we start pumping more into the website, that's certainly going to pick up, and we're excited about that.
Very cool. Let's switch gears a little bit to round up the interview. I would have some rapid fire questions for you to get to know you a little bit better as a marketer and as a person. Okay. Are you ready for this?
Yeah,
very good.
Let's go.
What is the last book you read?
Good one. So it was The Power Broker. Yeah.
What's one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
Right now, staffing and growing for 2022.
If there would be no boundaries in tech, right? Everything is possible. What's the one thing you would fix for your role today?
The ability to get more qualified leads, an easy one.
What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about the company?
About the company? The last thing was hitting all of our hiring goals for this quarter. Yeah.
And if today would be your very first day out of, so we're doing a bit of time travel, if you allow, we're going back to the days of Boston College, right? So you're heading out of education off into the world of, I think, sort of sales. You actually were founders as well. What's the one advice you would give yourself moving back to the last day of Boston College?
Yeah. I would say get into tech faster, because I got into finance first and then eventually found tech, but I wanted to get into tech faster and play in my mind, play the position that you want, right? Every single day when you're at a company. If I wanted to become a manager, think like a manager every single day. If I wanted to become an AE, think like an AE, et cetera. So that's what I would tell myself. I think I've learned that a little bit later in my career. But If I could have told myself that earlier, it definitely would have paid some dividends.
Very cool. Chris, I really appreciate you took the time with us to be a guest on Pathmark Presents. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about Bennie, what's the one thing that they should remember?
Yeah, I think the one thing they should remember is that, we are a force to be reckoned with in the employee brokerage world, in the benefits world. Just looking at the space right now, we're the fastest growing employee benefits broker for small and mid-sized companies. We've been quiet about it because we've been focused on our customers. And I think that's what's super important. We're not going to be, oh, this is what we do. This is how much money we raise. We did, this is how many employees. That's not the way our brand is. So we're really, really focused on the individuals, the employees, the HR leader. And when people have a conversation with us, we are saving money. We are saving time. Like it's an amazing company to be a part of and be able to be involved with. So, and that's a testament to us being, one of the fastest growing brokers right now for our space. So, if there's anything people take away from this, it's definitely that.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathmark Presents.
Thank you.